And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we have a really interesting Asian-inspired pork and shrimp patty, but first I'd like to remind everyone that we have a Patreon if you'd like to support us there. I'll put a link in the description below, and thank you to all of our patrons over on Patreon. We also have an affiliate link with Chef's Temp if you need a kitchen thermometer or meat probe. I'll put a link in the description for that as well, and if you use code LOVEYOURFOOD on checkout, you'll get 15% off your order. In the meantime, here's our ingredients. We've got some shrimp, some ground pork, an egg, an onion, some breadcrumbs, some sugar, and some fish sauce. So we're going to get started here by peeling our shrimp. We're going to be mincing these as well. Now we got zipper backs. If you have whole unpeeled shrimp, then you're going to need to do a little cut on the back and get rid of the vein across the back there. So we're just going to peel these shrimp and get all of the shells off. Now we like to keep the shells. We have a bag of frozen raw shrimp shells. They're great for making shrimp stock and fish stocks and all that sort of thing, or bisque in the future. They're really, really useful for all that. Once you have all of your shrimp peeled, we're just going to mince these as finely as we can. Now we're using about a half a recipe for this, so there wasn't really enough room, or there wasn't really enough material for us to put this into the food processor. So we're just going to do it all by hand. So there you can see we've got our shrimp minced pretty finely. We didn't go as finely as we possibly could. We're just going to mix that with the pork. Then we're going to grate the onion, because once again we want this to be a paste when it's all said and done. And then we're just going to start mixing this all together. We're going to add in our little bit of sugar. Now we don't add any salt, because the fish sauce is actually very salty, so we're not going to add any salt to this. In go the breadcrumbs. We're also going to be using some panko breadcrumbs for the outside. And here comes the fish sauce, so we're just going to add some of that in as well. And then we're also going to add in an egg. Now we're going to just put it into a bowl first to make sure that there's no shell or anything, and then in that goes. And then you can mix this however you like. We're just going to use our hands because it's the easiest thing. And you just basically want it together until everything's well combined. Now, if you find that your mixture is a little bit loose, ours was a little because we cut everything in half. Unfortunately, it's harder to cut an egg in half. If you find it's a little loose, you can add a little tiny bit of flour just so it binds a little bit better. You can see here, ours, we added a little bit of dietary fiber in ours just to help it bind a little bit. But it's still quite loose. It doesn't hold together super well. It's very, very tender. While we're adding the breadcrumbs here. So we're just going to dredge these in these nice panko breadcrumbs. And then very, very delicately, as you can see, it's really hard to move them around. Very delicately with a spatula, we're going to add these into our hot oil. Now, we want to cook these at a medium temperature, not a super high temperature, because you want them to cook all the way through before they get really brown on the outside. Now this side, you can see they're starting to get a little bit golden there. So we're going to flip these over, and you can see they're already easier to handle. They're already easier to deal with. They've started to firm up a little bit. And that's, the perfect color. That's exactly what we're looking for. And they do need just a little sprinkle of salt when they come out. And that's what they end up look like. They're really, really good, delicious, and you can see they've got this kind of nice fluffy texture inside. They're a little bit like a sausage patty with this nice crispy breadcrumb coating on the outside. Absolutely delicious. And that's it. That's the whole thing. Really, really simple, delicious, a little bit different from stuff that we normally do, and we hope you'll give it a try. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. We'd like to thank our patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to support us there, we'll put a link in the description below. And remember to love your food.